Jai Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. Okay, time for class. All righty. Good to see everybody. So bright and early in the morning. On Easter Monday. Get everybody online. All right, let me just tune this. Okay. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Jaya Paramahamsa Paravidikacharya, also Teta, Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya, Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasiti Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda, Radhagunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuranam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi Gauravati Pachani Nivishesha, Shunyavadi Paschacha Dejatarni. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana, Shalakaya Takshurim Neditam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Namaha. So we're going to continue with our reading of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And we're on the fourth chapter of the Antya Lila, beginning with text 131. And we are reading about Sanatana Goswami's interactions with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there's some discussion about Maryada, which basically means etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette, Vaishnava behavior. And in the Bhagavatam, there's an interesting statement that Prabhupada makes, Maryada Vyatikrama. Anyone who violates Vaishnava etiquette or normal etiquette, can never attain the mercy of Krishna. So Vaishnava etiquette is, there's a whole course that I've taught in Vaishnava etiquette, but we don't have time to talk about it right now. It means respecting all the devotees, considering yourself a servant of all the devotees, respecting all living entities, respecting the holy Dham, offering obeisances at certain times, just all sorts of things. Neck beads, tilak, different things like that. It's Vaishnava etiquette. Anyway, we're not going to get into all the details, but there is some discussion going on right here. So let's continue with the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Okay, let's continue. Maryada Langane Loka Karyupasa Iha Loka Parakloka Dvihayanasha. If one transgresses the laws of etiquette, people make fun of him, and thus he is vanquished in both this world and the next. That's a pretty heavy statement. Maryada Rakile Tushta Kaile Moramana Tumiyachena Karile Karikon Jana. By observing the etiquette, you have satisfied my mind. Who else but you could show this example? Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praising Sanatana Goswami because instead of going by the temple door, the Singhadwara gate, on the way to see Lord Chaitanya, He's taken the beach route. And now the reason that why it's a violation, or would have been a violation of etiquette to go by the door of the Jagannath temple, is because he had all these sores all over his body, and it would have contaminated, at least externally, would have contaminated all the pujaris who were actually coming and going and serving Haribol and serving Lord Jagannath. Instead, he went by the beach route, and the beach was so hot, the sand was so hot, it caused blisters on his feet. So Lord Chaitanya is very pleased. And he's saying that Sanatana Goswami, he's tested Sanatana Goswami, and he's given Sanatana Goswami the position of teaching etiquette to all the Vaishnavas. And that's why Sanatana Goswami was given the duty of writing what's called the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Now, the Hari Bhakti Vilas is a very interesting literature and deals with etiquette, but also deals with certain rituals that are sometimes applicable in certain countries and not applicable in other countries. So in other words, etiquette is something that is sometimes culturally understood. There are certain eternal items of etiquette, such as paying obeisances to devotees or respecting and serving devotees, serving the Lord. But there's other items of etiquette. For example, in the Western world, it used to be before COVID, you had an etiquette of shaking people's hands. I don't think you do that anymore. No. Now everybody's going namaste. Right? They've actually become taking up Indian culture now by the arrangement of COVID. So anyway, so that's simply and not an eternal item of etiquette or behavior. So we have to understand the difference between eternal principles and temporary details. There's details. So details are adjustable, like whether you shake someone's hand, so many different things. For example, even in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's certain injunctions on how to follow certain holy days, Ekadashis, or what's the other one? What not to eat, like carrots, which I insist on every day. Anyway, it's interesting. Every night I have a carrot, and we nuke it. You know what nuking? You don't know what nuking means. It means microwave. You should learn this terminology. That's the etiquette. So anyway, so there are certain items in the Hari Bhakti Vilas written by Sanatana Goswami that are not meant to be eternally applied, such as that. I mean, that's just one item, for example. And the reason why he included those items in the Hari Bhakti Vilas is that the Hari Bhakti Vilas was also meant as a preaching tool. And when you're preaching in a certain society, you have to basically add a few little items of etiquette for that society, which is interesting. So he was preaching in a highly stratified Brahminical society. What does that mean, highly stratified? It means there's a hierarchy, really stratified. You're a Brahmin, that's it. You can't do anything else. And you're a Kshatriya, and if you're a Shudra, forget it. So, anyway, because of that, he had to present Krishna consciousness in almost a ritualistic context so that we would be accepted. That's part of preaching. You have to adjust some of the details for the purpose of preaching. Like Prabhupada did when Prabhupada was installing the deities in Krishna Balaram Mandir. Prabhupada had the ritualistic Brahmins come with all their different mantras and mudras. And basically what happened is Prabhupada said it was actually the Harinam Kirtan that installed the deities, not the ritualistic Brahmins. But why did he have the ritualistic Brahmins? So that we would be accepted in society. Otherwise, if we just had Hare Krishna, they would say, these malachas, they don't know anything. And they wouldn't accept us. So sometimes, you adjust certain things. Actually, I was in Tirupati, too, when I was taking part in the installation of Radha Govinda and the Astasakis. I don't know if anyone's been. I'm not talking about Tirupati right now. I'm talking about Tirupati, the ISKCON temple in Tirupati. You been there?
Yes.
So I was part of the installation. Actually, I got a chance to bathe Radharani, Lalita, and Vishaka. I was right on the altar. Anyway, so Krishna bless me. So what they did is they called for the Ramanuja Pandits, which is a different sampradaya, basically. Were you there for the installation? No.
No.
Okay. And they had all these different havans going on, and it was beautiful. But at the same time, they were doing that so that people would accept us in that particular area. So sometimes you have to have injunctions for a particular area so that people accept you. You have to adjust the details so people will accept you. I mean, for example, sometimes in the Western world, when we're preaching Krishna consciousness, devotees have to dress up in Western clothes. There's no such thing as karmi clothes. Cloth cannot be karmic unless you use it for karmic purposes. I mean, it's an interesting thing. It's a detail that we're wearing this particular style of cloth. It's not an eternal principle. You know, we don't know what Krishna wore. Krishna could have worn blue jeans. I don't know. No, he didn't. No, obviously he didn't. But Krishna didn't wear a dhoti because he would have tripped all over and would have been disaster in the battlefield, etc. You know, Arjuna would have said, Krishna, what happened to you? And Arjuna, too, would have tripped over himself, too. So we have to be able to understand. So in applying applying Shastra even, one needs the guidance of Guru, like Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, you know, the three checks and balances in devotional life. And even there's injunctions in the Bhagavatam that we don't follow. One injunction is that the vanaprasthas should wear tree bark. And sometimes the sannyasis, there's injunction they should wear deer skin. Right? And actually, traditionally, the sannyasis were naked, but we don't follow that one. So you have all these different injunctions that are meant simply to be applied according to time, place, and circumstance. For example, even though there's the injunction that a sannyasi should wear deerskin or something like that, when one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates approached him like that, Lord Chaitanya said, you know, why are you dressing like that? And he got him to dress like a regular sannyasi. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually changed the sannyas dress from the traditional Vaishnava or Gaudiya Vaishnava sannyas dress. You understand? This type of dress that I'm wearing now was derived by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur after he studied the Ramanuja sannyasis and other groups in India. And then he said, well, this is best for preaching. Because traditionally in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, sannyasis would dress in like lungis, you know. Not saffron, white lungis. White. That's the tradition, because it's Babaji order. Like you hear about Gauri Kishore Babaji, and actually even practically all the sannyasis and saints before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur dressed like that. So why did he do that? For preaching. Because it's not an essential aspect or a principle of Krishna consciousness, the style of dress that we have. That's a detail that can be adjusted. For example, if you go to China, you'll see the devotees, they dress in Chinese standard clothes. Haribol. They dress in Chinese standard clothes, and the instruments they use are Chinese instruments, and when they eat with chopsticks.
Yes.
Yeah, you've seen pictures of that.
Yes.
Chopsticks. You know, if I began to eat with chopsticks here, you think this is weird. So we adjust things. And when we're in different company, we might eat with a spoon. You know, sometimes devotees eat with their hands. So I remember when I first joined the movement, I thought it was an essential principle of Krishna consciousness to never use a spoon and to always use your hands. So the point is, that's a funny story. So when I went home to visit my mother one time, I have all these mother stories, I was saying, mother served me some fruit or something like that because I wouldn't eat anything that she cooked because I didn't want to get contaminated by my mother. Anyways, crazy. So I began to eat with my hands. My mother said, "What are you, an animal?" And I had to go back to using a spoon. So the point is, so many times we think that things are essential. I mean, of course, eating with your hands is good. Why is it good? Because according to the Ayurveda, that helps you digest the food. That's another point. But things can be adjusted. If you're going to attend a business conference, just like I was looking, in case it was yesterday, I was looking at one of your business conferences where you got awarded something. I went on your YouTube channel and you were standing there. And you were acting, tie and jacket. And I said, "Where's the dhoti?" So, so I'm sure, if it was a business dinner after, they were having dinner after that,
Yes.
that you did use a fork and spoon and everything like that. You didn't just like eat with your hands. So many times we actually think that temporary injunctions or temporary adjustments or certain cultural items are eternal and essential for Krishna consciousness. So we have to really be able to, and so that we need an acharya. Srila Prabhupada, of course, is the acharya. But also we have to use our common sense and consult with other devotees to see what's practical insofar as spreading Krishna consciousness and to understand what's essential, a principle, and what is a detail, and make the difference, understand the difference between the two. Because if we become attached to details, we're never going to be able to spread Krishna consciousness. Like Prabhupada, another point is Prabhupada violated many details. He crossed the ocean, which is prohibited for a sannyasi. He lived with malechas, intoxicated malechas. He even taught the first lady who joined our movement how to wear a sari. I would never try that one. Because I don't know how to wear a sari. Isn't it? I mean, for sannyasi to teach a lady how to wear a sari? Isn't that amazing? And he had so many ladies serving him in India. I mean, there's that whole story that Prabhupada was sitting down with his godbrothers taking prasadam, and then he brought Malati in to serve them prasadam. And his godbrothers were going, "What's a lady doing here?" and Prabhupada, he was very strong. He said to his godbrother to shock them. He said, "She is willing to die for me, and I'm willing to die for her." So Prabhupada was showing like a different level of understanding Krishna consciousness. Of course, we don't imitate Prabhupada, but it's a different level. And Prabhupada was showing that his godbrothers that these are simply details, like not essential principles. I mean, like right now we're having a discussion on the GBC about the same thing, Vaishnavi Diksha Gurus, Vaishnavi Diksha Gurus, not Vaishnavas. And so, you'll find some injunctions about men being gurus and women should be in the kitchen rolling rotis and not speak that much unless their husband talks to them. And every lady should be like Sita Devi. Don't try that. You tell your wife, "You should be like Sita Devi." And then the wife will simply say, "You should be like Ram then." You're Ravan, so why should... So how do you expect me to be like Sita Devi? So you'll find certain injunctions on both sides. Isn't it? I mean, it's pretty amazing. So you really need some discrimination, intelligence to understand Vaishnava etiquette. That's the point I'm making here. And what is to be done, what is not to be done. Another item of Vaishnava etiquette that I've seen recently is devotees violate Vaishnava etiquette, many devotees continually, by arguing with each other about certain points on the internet. I've mentioned this before. especially about the vaccine, the pro and the anti-vaccines, the anti-vaxxers, and everything like that. I mean, it's all right to have your own opinion. I don't care. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But that it's because they have different opinions, they start calling each other different names. So you rascal, you demon, you're working for the demons now. You know, that's a violation of Vaishnava etiquette. So the following of Vaishnava etiquette is essential for Krishna consciousness. Okay, let's continue. Someone just sent the message that I used to roll chapatis. Yes, I used to roll chapatis. And I'm not a lady. So Eta Bali Prabhu Tanre Alingana Kaila Tanrakandu Rasa Prabhura Sri Ange Lagila. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Sanatana Goswami, and the moisture oozing from the itching sores on Sanatana's body smeared the body of the Lord. Shoo. Now, later on, Lord Chaitanya will explain why he did that. There's several different reasons, but not at this point in the story. Marabani Shedena Tabu Kare Alingana Ange Rasa Lage Dukkha Paya Sanatana. Although Sanatana Goswami repeatedly forbade Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to embrace him, the Lord still did so. Thus his body was smeared with the moisture from Sanatana's body, and Sanatana became greatly distressed. I mean, you can understand that scenario. Let's say, if you had your spiritual master and he embraced you, he had all these sores and all the gook for the body got all over him, you're just like, you'd want to run away. And so Sanatana Goswami not only did want to run away, but in the beginning he wanted to commit suicide, and he was forbidden from doing that. And now he has another plan too, you're going to hear about. Emata Sevaka Prabhu Dun Hey Gara De Gela Aradina Jaganananda Sanatanere Milila. Thus both servant and master departed for their respective homes. The next day Jagadananda Pandit went to meet Sanatana Goswami. Dvijana Vasi Krishna Katagoshti Kaila Panditere Sanatana Dukkha Nivedila. When Jagadananda Pandit and Sanatana Goswami sat together and began to discuss topics about Krishna, Sanatana Goswami submitted to Jagadananda Pandit the cause of his distress. Ihan ailana prabhudeki dukkha kandaite yeva mane taha prabhuna dila karite. I came here to diminish my unhappiness by seeing Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the Lord did not allow me to execute what was in my mind, that is, committing suicide. Nishedite Prabhu Alingana Karena More Mora Kandu Rasalage Prabhura Sharide. Although I forbid him to do so, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nevertheless embraces me, and therefore my body becomes smeared, his body, becomes smeared with the discharges from my itching sores. Phew. Aparada hayamhora nahika nishtara jaganateha nakitekiye eduka apara. In this way I am committing offenses at his lotus feet, and from these offenses I shall certainly not be delivered. At the same time I cannot see Lord Jagannath. This is my great unhappiness. Hita nimitakoilana amihaila viparite hikarile hitahaya nari. I came here just for my benefit, but now I see that I'm getting just the opposite. I do not know, nor can I ascertain, how there will be benefit for me. Panditakahi tomaravasa yogya vrindavana ratayatrateki tahan karaha kamana. Jagadananda Pandit said, the most suitable place for you to reside is Vrindavan. After seeing the Rath Yatra festival, you can return there. He's just saying, well, you better get out of here before you commit more offenses. But this is not pleasing to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhurangya hanache tamadadvipaye vrindavane vaishatahan savrasukapaye. The Lord has already ordered both of you, that's Sanatana and Rupa, brothers, to situate yourself in Vrindavan. Therefore, there you will achieve all happiness. Ye karye haila prabhura dekila charana rate jagannatha deki karaha gamana. Your purpose in coming has been fulfilled, for you have seen the lotus feet of the Lord. Therefore, after seeing Lord Jagannath in the Rath Yatra car, you can leave. Sanatana kahi balakaila upatesha tahanyabase mora prabhu tata desha. Sanatana Goswami replied, "You have given me very good advice. I shall certainly go there, for that is the place the Lord has given me for residence." And Prabhupada explains, the word Prabhu Datta Desha are very significant. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotional cult teaches one not to sit down in one place, but to spread the devotional cult all over the world. The Lord dispatched Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan to excavate and renovate the holy places, and from there establish the cult of bhakti. Therefore, Vrindavan was given to Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami as their place of residence. Similarly, everyone in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotional cult should accept the words of the spiritual master and thus spread the Krishna consciousness movement. They should go everywhere to all parts of the world, accepting those places as their Prabhu Datta Desh, the places of residence given by the spiritual master or Lord Krishna. The spiritual master is the representative of Lord Krishna. Therefore, one who has carried out the orders of the spiritual master is understood to have carried out the orders of Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to spread the bhakti cult all over the world. Prativityache yata nagaradi grama. That's from the C. Chaitanya Bhagavad, Anchakanda 4:126. Therefore, devotees in the line of Krishna consciousness must go to different parts of the world and preach as ordered by the spiritual master. That will satisfy Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why I guess I'm here. I was thinking of retiring, but Prabhupada just said no. So, see, Govardhan, but Prabhupada said no. Okay, Prabhupada. Got to listen to Prabhupada, see. Etavali tunhe nija karyauti gela aradina Mahaprabhu minipare aila. After talking in this way, Sanatana Goswami and Jagannatha Pandit returned to their respective duties. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Haridasa and Sanatana Goswami. Haridasa Kaila Prabhu Charana Vandana Haridase Kaila Prabhu Prema Alingana. Haridas Thakur offered obeisances to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord embraced him in ecstatic love. Durahite Danda Paranama Kare Sanatana Prabhu Bolaya Bara Bara Kariteya Lingana. Sanatana Goswami offered his obeisances and dandavats from a distant place, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him again and again to embrace him. And he didn't want to go near Lord Chaitanya. He's feeling really bad. Aparada Bhaye Tena Minite Nahela Mahaprabhu Milibare Setani Gela. Out of fear of committing offenses, Sanatana Goswami did not come forward to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, however, went forward to meet him. Sanatana Bhagi Pache Karena Gamana Balat Kare Dari Prabhu Kaila Lingana. Sanatana Goswami backed away, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu caught him by force and embraced him. Dvijana Lanak Prabhu Vasila Pindate Nirvana Sanatana Lagila Kagite. The Lord took them both with him and sat down in a sacred place. Then Sanatana Goswami, who was advanced in renunciation, began to speak. Hitalagi Ainum Muni Hailo Viparita Seva Yogya Nahi Aparada Karoniti Niti. I came here for my benefit, he said, but I see that I am getting just the opposite. I am unfit to render service. I simply commit offenses day after day. Sahaji Nichik Jati Muni Dushta Papashya More Tumi Chunile Mora Aparada Hoya. By nature I am low-born. I am a contaminated reservoir of sinful activities. If you touch me, sir, that will be a great offense on my part. Dahate Amarange Karurasa Rakta Chile tumarange lage tavu, sparshaha tumi vale. Moreover, blood is running from infected, itching sores in my body, smearing your body with moisture, but still you touch me by force. Just one more verse we'll read. Vivatsa spashite nakara grina leshe aparadhe mora have sarva nashe. My dear sir, you do not even have a pinch of aversion to touching my body, which is in a horrible condition. Because of this offense, everything auspicious will be vanquished for me. Okay, so I think we'll end here. And this is text 144. We ended 154. Sorry, we ended at, and we'll continue tomorrow. And stop sharing, and we'll allow people to talk online. Unmute all the nice devotees online. So anybody have any questions? First, we'll take the questions from devotees here. Questions? Yes.
Yes. There is no mention of that, the second time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Sanatana Goswami, but then just like the Vasudeva Lepa, as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu...
Well, you're giving away the story. No. That's later in the future.
Yeah.
In this chapter. Don't give away the story.
No, not that story.
No. You don't give away the end of the story.
Okay.
No, don't
Not
even.
about
No,
the
don't.
Lepa,
What?
No, but about the Sanatana Goswami.
Yeah.
Like his oozes didn't go away.
I know. So don't.
Oh, it's coming.
Don't give away. Don't give away. Don't give away the end of the story.
Yeah. No, as soon as...
No. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just one thing, Maharaj. Is doing devotional service more important, or is reading shastras and understanding them is more important?
I think they're both equally important. I wouldn't give more importance to one because, of course, reading Shastra is devotional service like Krishna. It's said that one who studies the Bhagavad Gita is worshiping Krishna with his intelligence. So it's one of the aspects of devotional service. Like if you... Oh my God. All right, we're going to mute you all again. Because everyone wants to talk in front of me and all their dogs are barking. So anyway, you have 9 processes of devotional service. The first one is what? Shravanam. Hearing. So studying the books, that's devotional service. Devotional service is encapsulated within these 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And you can't really do any of the other processes of devotional service properly without hearing. Hearing is actually the essential. I mean, I know that we've heard many times before you can do any one of the 9 processes of devotional service and achieve perfection. But that means you could specialize in any one of the 9 processes. But really, you're supposed to do all of them. I mean, really, you're supposed to do all of them, isn't it? And maybe you're specializing in Archana. Let's say Archana is one of your specialization, deity worship. But still, you have to hear. Prabhupada said if you don't hear it regularly, you'll go away. Because you won't know what to do. When you're going to be dealing with the deities, you're going to be treating them like a ritual, like stone or something like that, unless you hear it properly. So hearing is essential. It's actually the foundation for performing any other devotional service. It is devotional service, but it's the foundational principle for performing any other activity. Because how are you going to Shravanam Kirtanam? How are you going to chant without hearing? How are you going to Vishnu Smaranam? How are you going to remember? And ultimately, Atmani Vedanam, how are you going to surrender to Krishna? Because you won't even know who Krishna is without hearing, right? So I would say it's devotional service, and it's the foundation. And sometimes in the temple, I don't know if it happens here, the temple president will say, stop chanting, you have to do some service. Or don't read, you have to do some service. And I remember there were devotees who fell down because they were so much involved in service. Actually, there was one devotee who was involved in serving the BBT, and he was so much involved with the BBT service and everything like that, he neglected his rounds. He wasn't chanting. And then he fell down. And he's come back. He's a very nice devotee. I mean, he's a good friend of mine. But still, because he didn't hear and chant regularly, then he fell down. So I think it's essential. It gives us the energy, the Shakti, by which we can perform devotional service. And the understanding, devotional service is called Buddhi Yoga. It's performed with intelligence. And if one doesn't read and chant, then you won't have intelligence. Right? So, any other questions here? Yeah.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. So when we were reading today, it was saying how if you transgress the etiquettes, your devotional life is vanquished. And when you hear statements like that,
Scary.
it puts fear into your heart, and you're constantly in fear that, oh, have I transgressed? Even this morning, actually, it was so appropriate. When I was singing, I was thinking, oh, should I have said yes to singing or not? So it was very appropriate that this verse came up. I thought, oh, have I transgressed etiquette? So all these questions keep coming. Every action we perform, the fear keeps coming.
Well, I mean, that's paranoia.
Okay, I'm paranoid.
Yeah, you don't have to. No, I'm not diagnosing you. I mean, Krishna knows our intention. It's not so much the external activity, it's the intention. Intention is the important thing. Like, for example, you have the story of Govinda, who transgressed externally Vaishnava etiquette by stepping over Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's that story. He stepped over Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give him a massage. So he transgressed Vaishnava etiquette, but his intention was basically to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it? So, and then he didn't step over the other way to eat.
Yeah.
So I think we consider the intention, because otherwise you can get really into paranoia, basically, or hyper whatever. Like to even step on the shadow of a Vaishnava. So we're going for a walk. Someone's walking with their spiritual master and jumping here and there. Why are you jumping here and there? I'm not supposed to step on your shadow or step on your footprints. Like that. So, as they say, chill out. Isn't it? Chill out. Life is. Just try your best. And Krishna knows. He'll, as he says, Ananyas Chintayanto Bhamyeja Nakparipasate Tesham Netjabiyuktamam Yogashema Vahamyaham. That people who are dedicated to me, he says, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Otherwise, I'd be worried all the time. So, any other questions? Oh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Gurudev, so as a practicing devotee in Grihastha ashram, so is there like a daily...
You're practicing Grihastha ashram.
I
know, I'm just making a joke right now. It's just a joke. I mean, because you would, practicing it was in reference to devotee,
Yeah.
and I just took it as in reference to Grihastha ashram.
So as a, we have our day-to-day materialistic activities like jobs, etc. So the daily method of operation for a Vaishnava, for example, yes, we chant 16 rounds a day. We have to listen to Srila Prabhupada's lecture for half an hour, maybe Gurudev's lecture, or read Srimad Bhagavatam.
You don't have to do any of this. You don't use the word have to. It's kind of miserable. You choose to. Yeah. So what is it? What's
So
the
is there a prescribed, so that we can actually balance the whole ABCD aspect, the association, the books, the chanting, and obviously performing devotional service like what Mataji said?
Use your intelligence. Use your intelligence. I'm not going to tell you 15 minutes a day, you got to brush your teeth, and and 12 minutes and 36 seconds, you read the Bhagavatam every day. You use your intelligence. You're an intelligent person. I mean, I was watching you in front of that assembly yesterday. I said, wow, I'm pretty proud of him. He's pretty intelligent. He should run the movement, not me.
So personally with the ISKCONapp.com, Gurudev, so to get that habit going, so I'm just recording what I'm doing just for my personal. The app is working really well for me.
Really?
So
You live your life according to the app.
at least
What if the internet goes down? Then you're in trouble. I'm joking. Whatever. I can't chant. The Wi-Fi is off today. Yeah. So whatever works for you. I think everybody has a different balance. I mean, some people they need to read 2 hours a day. Some people 15 minutes of really intense reading is enough. Of course, everyone needs a chant japa. I think it's a question of your own. Everybody is intelligent. I give the benefit of the doubt to devotees. I mean, I don't want to micromanage anyone's life. Like, what is the proper balance? I mean, I can give general advice, like chant Hare Krishna, read Prabhupada's books, study this book or that book. But as far as the balance, everybody, I mean, especially myself as a sannyasi, to actually give too much advice to people who are married and, and tell them to be nice to their wife and everything like that. It's nice at that presentation. I saw you said, you were actually giving, you were appreciating your wife in front of everybody else, your wife and family, isn't it, as your inspiration. I thought that was kind of nice. That's how I check up on devotees. I look. I check their Facebook pages, their YouTube channel. It's like, like if you join a corporation, they actually look at your all your social networking stuff, isn't it? So I do the same thing. Before someone takes initiation, I check them out. It's great. I mean, some people like. It was before the internet, and I initiated Avadweep, so I could check him out too well. But he turned out all right. But sometimes, in the past, it was like rolling dice. But now you can find out everything about someone.
What about the humble devotees that don't put up anything on social media?
No, they do. They put up things about other people, and they're humble, so. They put up things about Krishna and other devotees, and I see they're appreciating other devotees. Just look at his TikTok and everything like that. No. It's good. You have to check people out, joining the Hare Krishna movement. So does that answer your question? Use your intelligence, that's all. And you're bright, and you can, be introspective. We should always monitor our state of Krishna consciousness. If we're not becoming attracted to hearing and chanting, notpadiyad yadi ratim shame kevalam, then we're doing something wrong. We have to increase our hearing and chanting. Or we have to serve some Vaishnavas. By serving the Vaishnava, one gets a taste for hearing and chanting. I remember, especially through the activity of preaching Krishna consciousness, one gets a real taste for hearing. In the early days, when I used to go on traveling Sankirtan, I would sometimes be out for like 10 or 12 hours a day distributing Prabhupada's books, living in a van or in a Volkswagen Bug sometimes. And then it was so ecstatic by the end of the day we couldn't go to sleep. And all we were eating the whole day was just like sweet balls and halva. That's all we could cook in the fan. So, but we were just so happy. And then we listened to a class of Prabhupada in the evening, and it was like, to use Huxley's expression, like the doors of perception were open. We're able. It's like cleaning your glasses. Sometimes you can see better. Yeah. So it was that we could hear better after serving. I mean, it was just like so clear hearing Prabhupada. We could hear all or many of his ecstatic expressions. So when you serve, that's what happens. Especially you please Prabhupada by spreading Krishna consciousness. Okay. Other questions? Yes.
Maharaj, I have a question, a little personal question
Uh-oh.
for you. Maharaj, this Vaishnava etiquette, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Guru Maharaj also
He gave courses on it, yeah.
gave courses. So I really wanted to know an intimate pastime of yourself and Guru Maharaj from your perspective.
Well, you know how I'm always very humorous? No, you probably don't know that. So, so here's a funny story. That Mangalarti during the GBC meetings, I probably everybody knows I'm pretty punctual. So I was always there right on time. Probably, you set your clock by me. So I was there, Mangalarti in front of the deities in Mayapur. And he came in like a minute late or something like that. Actually, I did it. And I jokingly, he embraced the devotees. He's very loving with all of his godbrothers. And I said, "Oh, a pure devotee has come. Now I feel Krishna conscious." And he got so sad, shook his head. Anyway, so that was interesting. So, there's an interesting story with Tamal Krishna Maharaj that I never told anyone this story. This is also a similar story. It was Mangalarti, so I was in time like I always am. And then he comes like 2 minutes late. This is an interesting story. And I pointed my watch and said, "You're late." He got really upset. Anyone who knows Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you don't do that with him. Yeah, I pointed at my watch. Because he was strong, really strong. But I'm his godbrother, so he couldn't get angry with me. And then another thing, this was in Houston, Texas, where they have a Govardhanshila that's like this big in Houston, Texas. So we were greeting the deities that morning. And that was the first morning I was in Houston. For some reason, it might have been a GBC meeting or something. Anyway, I was in Houston. And then we offered obeisances. And then I saw it. I went, "Wow," looking at Govardhan. And then he said something really funny that probably none of you have heard before. He said, "Everything's bigger in Texas." That's what Texans are known for that. Everything's bigger in Texas. Because I'd never seen a Govardhanshila outside of India so big. So anyway, those are two stories.
You want to know one could enter his zone?
You want to know what?
Enter his zone.
Why I entered his zone?
Because he's authority.
Should I tell that story? One time, oh my God. One time I was in Texas visiting someone he didn't like so much. There was someone, I'm not going to mention his name because it's a public internet, but I was visiting him because he's my friend also, so one proper disciple. And I was visiting him in Texas. It was in Austin, Texas, which is another city in Texas. So I went there, and I got a call. He said, "You're in my zone." He said, "Without my permission." And I said, "I'm an American. I don't need a visa to visit." I don't need your permission. Because he liked to control it. Not that he was against me or anything, but he liked to keep everything like know where everyone was, like on a chessboard. At all the times. It's like, if I had asked him before, he would have said yes. But anyways, it's just like I didn't ask him before because I didn't think it was necessary. But he was very precise in his management. Nothing was sloppy. Everything was very precise. So it's
Even the time when he was in Fiji, I think so, he was very strict about anyone visiting Fiji.
yeah. But he invited me to Fiji. Fiji I didn't go to without permission because I was the one who was invited to go.
Yeah, he told me that.
He invited me to go to solve a legal problem because one of his disciples was suing him in court. And this shows how sometimes disciples are in denial of reality. He was suing him in court. You probably all know the story. So actually, I spent a whole week trying to convince the disciple not to sue his guru. And what happened? I even got Tamal Krishna Maharaj on the phone to speak to this person, Nisringa. So I got him on the phone to speak to this person, and the guru was telling the disciple, "Please don't sue me." And after we put down the phone, I said, "Did you hear what your guru said?" And he said, "He was just saying that to please you."
Oh,
So then after that, I guess Tamal Krishna Maharaj was happy with my interactions there. Because I had just gone, I was the GBC chairman that year. So he asked me to go in that capacity. And he was pleased. Then he asked me to become GBC right afterwards. I guess he was testing me to see how tolerant I was. Anyway, so yes, that was a Tamal Krishna Maharaj story. I have so many Tamal Krishna Maharaj stories, but it's interesting. There's so many stories about different God brothers, but with Bhakti True Maharaj, he stayed. He actually stayed with me in the same temple for about 2 or 3 years in North Carolina. You probably know that, right? No.
Maharaj, I'm not fully aware of that.
Yeah, he made that his base for 2 or 3 years. So he was there. He stayed in the house of one of his disciples for 2 or 3 years there. So we were pretty close. In fact, as I mentioned to many of the devotees on his disappearance day, was he who I appointed as the executor of my will. So it was just like traumatic when he left, because he was supposed to be the executor of my will. I was supposed to leave first, but anyway, here I am. So
Maharaj, also the Guru Maharaj Legacy Project, you have been the chair of that.
In the beginning, yeah, until I started arguing with the devotees. There was a whole. The thing is, I started to give the devotees instructions, and some of the devotees didn't like that. But I felt that Bhakti True Maharaj would want me to have given those instructions in regard to some of the projects. I'm not going to mention one particular project that I felt. Anyway, I had some vision, and then I withdrew from that committee online because I felt it would be a real conflict, and I would be encouraging them to violate etiquette if they disagreed with me. So out of compassion, I withdrew, and then we put Braja Bihari instead. You probably know about that, right?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Maharaj, I didn't get
Yeah, because I was in charge of the legacy. I mean, I was the first GBC person to go on the legacy committee, and then but I withdrew because I have very strong ideas about things, and in a situation where we're dealing with management, I have very strong ideas. If I'm dealing with people, then I can be empathic and everything like that. But if you put me in a management mode, then I really, I'm a different person. So it wasn't appropriate for me to tell them what to do. And many of the disciples liked that, but many of them had some issues with that. So that's an interesting thing that happened on the GBC. So, oops. Any other quick questions? Let's see, online, any other questions? Disciples can sue their Gurudev? Yeah, not you, Gopal. You can't. He's one disciple I teased a lot, so he'll take me to court for disciple abuse. So I think we have to end because we have a full day of visits, right? And eating and everything like that. Phew, terrible. So all right, so sorry we couldn't take. Oh, maybe we should just let. No, okay. Someone was going to ask a question, but it's too late. Okay. Thank you very much. All glories to His divine.